What's up? Welcome to Tuesday Thoughts with Mike, your mentor. Appreciate you guys joining me this Tuesday. Exciting news. My son turned 18. So tomorrow he's officially out of the house. Just kidding. But he has a bunch of buddies upstairs. They're hanging out, doing what teenage boys do these days, which is consume massive amounts of pizza, play lots of video games, and drink lots of caffeinated soda or pop, depending on what part of the country you are in. So, appreciate everybody who's checking out the replay here. I love you guys. The love all of the love you guys are showing this page and this mission that I'm on to impact the lives of other men, just like the men that came before me have impacted my life in so many ways. Got another update on the secret project that's going on, and it looks like that is going to be ready in time for Father's Day. So I'm excited to see how that turns out and to share it with you guys once it's ready. It's pretty cool, and it's all a result of you guys sharing this content and helping me get the message out there. People definitely take notice, and we're making a difference together, right? And this is what this is about. If you're new to this page, my name is Mike King, aka Mike the Mentor. If you haven't, if you didn't catch that, and basically, I'm on a mission to make a difference in men's lives, especially when it comes to manhood, because you can do this little experiment tomorrow when you go into your job or when you run into some other guys. You can ask them, when did you know you became a man? And well, I wouldn't be surprised, but you might be surprised at some of the answers that you get from a lot of different guys. It was when they smoked their first cigarette, or maybe they got in their first fight, or maybe when they moved out of the house for the first time, or maybe it was when they slept with a woman or drank a beer, or a multitude of answers that guys attribute to manhood these days. And just like a lot of men, I struggled with that, and I had to find my own way through that journey. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I came across some information that really opened my eyes and made me ask hard questions about my childhood and about the things that I had experienced growing up, and how that shaped my outlook on manhood. And once I was exposed to that, I mean, it was just life changing for me, right? My life up to that point had already been pretty incredible, pretty how would I describe it? Tough at times. I grew up without a dad, in and out of prison. As a teenager, he'd come around and disappear. My brother committed suicide when I was a sophomore, and then my dad finally died of liver cancer when I was after I just graduated from college. So a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment, a ton of rejection that I had to deal with, that I tried to fix, that I tried to put other things in those holes in my heart that were left there from my dad, and none of them gave me any type of long lasting satisfaction. And it wasn't until I went through this material and these light bulbs started going off, and then I had the courage to follow through with what I was learning about manhood, and go back and face some of these massive giants that were in my life, that I was able to move forward into true manhood, in my opinion, and gain better clarity and start to live a better life for myself, for my wife, for my kids, for the communities that I was a part of. And looking back on my life, how did I make it through all those difficult times, all those times where I was really struggling? And if you check the archives on the page, the videos, you can learn all about those different stories. I'm a wide open book about that stuff. What got me through that was God's grace, and I had mentors in my life, whether I realized it or not, that men that planted seeds in me along the way. Some of them that took root right away, and some of the seeds didn't show any fruit until years later, when I faced different obstacles, and words would come to my mind of what men had told me before, what men had warned me about, what men had taken the time to prep me on, even if I wasn't fully aware when they were telling me what that was going to look like, or what that might entail. And those are things that I talk about on this page as well. So this is my attempt to take all that wisdom that's been sown into me over all these years and to share it with any man that's willing to listen, because I really believe that it can make a difference in your life. And it's not that I'm so high and mighty, it's not that I'm so special. It's that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the men in my life willing to go outside of themselves and ask me some freaking hard questions and challenge me on some things. And if you haven't noticed, suicide is growing exponentially in our society, and the majority of those committing suicide are men. And that's got to stop, because the craziness that's going on in this world is the direct result of men not accepting and or not knowing how to accept the responsibility and the headship that they've been given in the home, their place in society, in leadership, in their communities, right? As a father, as a husband, in the other roles that men can assume. And there's all these questions. I was just talking to these younger guys earlier this week they're in their late 20s, and they're questioning if they're men and what that looks like. And to me, that's a shame that they don't know. Just like when I was that age, I had no idea, because you don't know what you don't know, and they don't teach this stuff in school. So that's what this page is all about. That's what I'm all about and why I'm doing this. So Tuesday Thoughts is just where we come together and I just talk about a subject that pertains to us being a better men, and just give a couple of thoughts or a couple of teaching points. So short and to the point, and tonight I want you to think about, pull up my list here, dating your daughter, and the importance of how we teach our daughters to honor, or how we show our daughters that women should be honored and treated, right? Because it's just sad out there, the way that we as men have allowed certain things in our society to take place. The names that we call women, and hey, I'm as guilty as anyone at sometimes, right? The names we've called women, the way we've objectified them, the way we haven't honored them, the way that they should be, the way we haven't not only shown leadership in that area, but we haven't assumed the headship that we've been given, and what that really looks like. And I'm not going to rehash any of that tonight, but I do got 3 main points that I just want to quickly share with you when it comes to raising your daughter. So if you're a dad with a daughter, or you got a sister, this, you know, you you need to think about this stuff, right? Because it's not just dads, but it is men in general, and how we carry ourselves and how we act that influences greatly uh, the opposite sex and what they look for. And back to my point, so if you don't have a daughter, right? Like think about maybe the woman you're dating or your girlfriend and how you treat her and some of the things that are said or not said and how that communicates to them. I'll give you a real quick example, on this. Um, I had somebody share with me one time that, yeah, you're right, we put ungodly expectations on women. We absolutely do, Lee. That's a great point. And we're all guilty of it at times. But to this point, so this couple having some trouble in their marriage, and the wife was really resentful, and she was resentful because the husband didn't stick up for her at family events, and the husband was totally, what's the word I'm looking for? He didn't have a clue. He didn't realize really like what was going on, right? So he grew up in a family where the men, they all made jokes and um, sometimes crude comments about women, in objectifying them in other ways, and that's the environment he grew up in. And I'm not making an excuse for him. That's just the way that he grew up. So in his mind, he didn't think anything of it when he was with his, his family members, and they were saying stuff. And when him and his wife started having some trouble, she shared that she was really hurt by that, and that he didn't defend. Here's the key word: her honor when that happened, and that was a real big wound for her and in their relationship. Um, and to see this man explain this to me, and the tears roll down his eyes as he finally realized the gravity and the weight of what he had been doing to his wife all those years, right? By silently saying, I'm not listening to you, by silently saying, whether he was saying it or not, just participating in it, right? Not coming to her honor, saying you're not worth that fight. And I'm not saying this is what he was thinking. I'm saying that this was what was being communicated by what he wasn't doing, by his being passive in those situations, if he was cognizant of what was going on, and he feels terrible, and now he's trying to deal with that, and what that looks like, and restore that part of his marriage. So that's an example, right? So we got to do a better job as men of honoring all the women in our life. But like I said, this is about our daughters. So point number one, I think this is it. Yeah, you need to make sure you're taking the time to talk to your daughter about how men are supposed to honor women, right? And what that looks like. Um, Growing up, my grandpa, who was a big influence in my life, the one of his pet peeves, right? One thing that he had absolutely no tolerance for was calling a woman the B word. To him, I mean, he would he would kill you. And I vividly remember us going out for ice cream one Sunday after church, and this guy and this woman like get into an argument or something, and this guy called this woman the B word. And my grandpa was a big guy, but he had cat-like reflexes, and he quickly moved on this guy, and when was in his face, telling this guy that he better not hear that word come out of his mouth again, and that uh, he needed to apologize to her, and no man in their right mind should speak to a woman like that, regardless of what they're doing. And that just always made an impression on me, um, because that was a very honorable thing to do, and he was from that generation. And it's interesting growing up being raised half by my grandparents, half by my mom, uh, to see the differences in generations. And then you have my generation and how far things have digressed and changed with regards to how men honor women. So you best believe that I talk that that I. This is a good reminder for myself, right? Of how I'm talking to my daughter about how men should treat women, and what I believe that looks like. The second thing is how you treat your wife is what your daughter will seek out in a man. And to take this a little bit further, your relationship that you have with your daughter will have a direct impact on her relationship with her husband. So I want to postulate something to you. Is that even the word, postulate? I want to put something in front of you and think about this. If you're having some type of issue with your wife, and always seek your God and ask Him to bring you discernment on this. But I want to propose to you that that issue that maybe you're having with your wife isn't really, there's something deeper there. It isn't just about your relationship with her. It could be about her relationship with her father and how she's projecting that on you. Because whatever you're doing is triggering that emotion or that subconscious feelings that she has towards something in her past that her father did to her. And I'm not saying physically, but it could be emotionally, it could have been mentally, and it could have been something out of commission or omission, right? Because we all wound people. It's just the way of the world. We're going to wound somebody in some way, whether we realize it or not. So a lot of times those issues can go back to what your wife experienced in her relationship with her father growing up. And if she has a great relationship with her father, God bless you, man. That's awesome. If that's not it, and God shows you that that's not it, ask Him for clarity and dig there. So, I'm I try to be aware of how my daughter sees me treating my wife. Now, for full transparency, I mean, I've talked about in the past, obviously, like any couple, me and my wife have disagreements, and we don't see eye to eye on things. But, there's times where my daughter does see those disagreements, and I am aware of, how am I talking to my wife in the moment? What is my daughter gonna remember when she thinks back on her childhood that she resorts to as a model for when she's married? And that's a heavy responsibility. And I'm not trying to put anything on you guys. I'm just trying to remind you, right, of that responsibility. It's something to think about. So finally, last thing for tonight, and we'll get out of here, is date your daughter so she knows what to expect. Right? I definitely believe in the whole daddy-daughter thing. Going to the daddy-daughter dance twice a year with my daughter. And then this is also a good reminder. It's been a while since I've had an actual date with my daughter, just taking her out, getting to know her, talking to her, just spending time with her. One of my daughter's primary love languages is quality time. If you don't know what love languages are, just Google love languages. The book will come up. It's one of the best investments that you can make because it not only pertains to uh, to your relationship with the opposite sex, but it pertains to your relationship with every person. Because if you know what love language they speak, you're going to just be a better communicator, and you're going to know how to communicate to that person properly, in a way that's gonna resonate with them, and that's gonna add value to their life and make a difference. So I highly recommend it. So back to my daughter, hers is quality time, and I was just reminded of that last night, when she asked me to read her a book, and I had some stuff that I needed to get done, and at first I was like, no, I can't, and then it hit me like, dude, like my daughter's 8, she ain't gonna be 8 forever, and I'm gonna be kicking myself in the arse when I'm older, wishing that my daughter still wanted to spend that time with me. Um, so taking the time to just sit next to her, and all she wanted me to do was, while she ate her pizza and laughed, was read a book to her, and just how big of a difference that made to her. And in doing so, right, she is learning to what to expect from her future husband, and that is that he wants to spend quality time with her, doing something that she enjoys. And sometimes I definitely fall short of that with not only my daughter, but with my wife. So it's definitely a good reminder, and this helps me keep myself accountable, having to be honest with you guys in that regard. So take stock of your own relationship with your daughter, of your own relationship with your wife, and those dynamics and what's going on and what we talked about tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in as usual. I love you guys. If you need anything, you need somebody to talk to get something off of your chest, to remove that burden, to drop it. It doesn't matter what it is. I've heard so much. I've probably heard it all. So nothing would surprise me. And I just come against any lie right now that the enemy is whispering to you right now, that says that, yeah, but you're the only person with this. Because that's not true at all. You're not the only person. You're not. You're not the only guy that's ever looked at another woman. You're not the only guy that's thought a lustful thought. You're not the only guy that maybe thought the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence. You're not the only guy to, indulge in things that, how should I say this, in things that aren't becoming of a man. You're not. Let's just be real. You're not. And the enemy's going to try to isolate you and tell you that you are, and keep you under that lie until you get with somebody that you can trust, right? Because you have to, like, sharing is a big responsibility. So you have to honor that process. You need to get with somebody that you trust, and you need to be able to tell them, hey man, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I got going down. Is that even a correct sentence? Well, this is what's going on in my life, and I need to let you know, right? And hopefully that person will be someone that you can trust, and they'll be able to steward that appropriately, and they'll be able to listen, and give you feedback if that's how they're directed and prompted, and then you can take the necessary steps. But nothing's going to happen as long as you continue to hold that to yourself and you keep trying to carry that. I don't know about you, but I just want to be as free as possible. I don't want no burdens. I don't want to be carrying around no shame. I don't want to be carrying around no guilt. And I get it. It's easier said than done. But I wouldn't be sitting here telling you to do this stuff if I haven't done the hard lifting myself. And you know what that's about. I mean, how do you keep a secret for your wife for all these years, uh, you know, and then finally tell her and have to deal with the repercussions of that and walk that out and live that, right? But I can't tell you how freeing it was to finally have those words roll off my lips, no matter, without knowing what was going to happen one way or the or the other in the next moment, in the next 5 days, in the next year, in the next 3 years. But the freedom that came from finally getting that out was amazing. So I just want to encourage you guys in that. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know what you walk through every day with. I don't know what keeps you up at night staring at the ceiling, wondering if they only thinking if they only knew, or how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to get through with this? Like, don't carry that burden, man. Don't. Share it with somebody. Get it off your chest. And another thing is when you share that burden, when you speak that out, that frees something up in your mind that was locked, that was stuck. And all of a sudden you can think more clearly about that situation, and then you're able to move with power, right? Past that into whatever is next for you. Whatever God has next for you, however He wants to continue to address that situation in your life. But the enemy doesn't want you to say anything. He wants you to keep that tucked away. That's only for you and him. And he can just take out the stick whenever he feels like and hit you with it. And you just got to walk around and accept it. Well, I mean, I'm saying you don't have to, but that's what we do, right? That's what we do as men. And then we sit down across from somebody that we have a relationship with, and we lie. We lie about how we're doing. We're lying about how we're feeling. We're acting like everything's okay. We're just carrying this giant burden and letting the enemy just beat the crap out of us with it. When are you going to be done with it? When are you going to be tired of that happening? Hopefully sooner than later. So I'll get off my soapbox there. Yeah, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm here. See you guys tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom. Have a good night.